is that strong moral compass, that strong sense of justice. So it's really interesting what you describe, Alex, because that feeling of that didn't feel right. You know, how did that happen? You know, it kind of jars you, doesn't it? It kind of, that experience, it just doesn't feel ethical. And if you've got a preference for rules, which many autistic people have, which I think is wonderful in many ways, but you're also somebody who has to make sense of a situation. And if a situation has kind of gone in a way that you think is really unfair for yourself, for somebody else, for somebody in your workplace, then you might be more likely to call that out. And that is something that many of my autistic human beings that I see and families describe. They say, look, I've really felt this injustice and I can't let go of it. You know, it's just like sitting there and I just, look, I've really felt this injustice and I can't let go of it. You know, it's just like sitting there and I just, it's just, I keep mulling over it because I think there's a sense of, unless you can find an explanation for it, unless you can kind of make it right, or unless you can get that other viewpoint of why did that happen? How did that happen? Often many autistic people describe themselves as being very good problem solvers. So if you're not able to solve that problem, and if someone has violated the rules, then you can really see how that could almost become an area of focus for somebody who's autistic.
Following on from that, could that cause problems in the workplace? If an autistic person who has massive justice sensitivity and perhaps they witness somebody get a promotion, for example, and in the autistic person's mind, they can tell that the reason that person got the promotion is because they might be just more chummy with the boss, not because they are necessarily there through merit. And therefore, if that justice sensitivity is so overwhelming and it bubbles up, could it cause problems where the autistic person feels like they have to say something, even though if that saying something is going to put them in a position that could cause the rest of the office to think that they're awkward or being difficult?
Again, there's different ways that people, autistic people, will respond to that situation. Some people will suppress what they notice and what they feel, and that kind of, that radar for noticing injustice or that something doesn't feel right or this doesn't feel fair. You know, they may suppress it and they might mask and they might just say, look, they might really feel it inside, if that makes sense. Other people, autistic people, may call it out.
Like me.
And I would hope that somebody in that situation has a supportive line manager or somebody that can explain why. Because often, you know, we will make some interpretations or we'll find, you know, in that kind of, that person got a promotion and I didn't, and this is why, and these are all the reasons why, often making that autistic person feel less than or worthless, which often then fits into maybe negative experiences that they've had in the past as well. It really fits into that low self-confidence, that low self-esteem. Why that person? Why not me? I'm really hoping that in that situation, that person has, you know, someone supportive.
Very interesting, very, like, spot on to, like, how I've felt my whole life. And it's just, like, so good to know that I'm not completely insane. Like, I'm just autistic. I'm not nuts. I'm just autistic. And that's it. And I'm getting my eval. Ow! This fucking dog just bit me in the ankle. But, yeah.